All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is Will Bridges from your team at 123Trade. Hope you guys had a good week. Got a nice little update for you on the Beat the Market Challenge. Trading a little bit of a, well, we started a small $500 account to show people how to grow a small account. A lot of people make the same mistakes. Trading a demo account with a, $100,000 is a lot different than trading a small account with $500, especially when it comes to equity management. We're going to cover more of that today. I also set up the MyFX book so you guys can see that. We can talk about, maybe what we want to do different this week because we have all the stats. That's the cool part about having a MyFX book. But lots happening in the world. We had the inflation numbers came out earlier this week, relatively low in the U.S. Well, when I say relatively low, I mean annualized at 4% instead of the 20% we were seeing earlier this year. And the PPI numbers just came out, and those are just as bad as they were 3 months ago. So whatever 1% annualized would be, I can find that out actually. Let's pull the calculator up and share that. We can show that. Maybe not. That's going to be a pain on my computer. Let's just pull this up real quick. Let's see, 1.01 to the 12th. And this is the personal purchasing index. This is a leading indicator. I'll pull this up on the screen so you guys can see this in a second here. I just want to try to throw a number at you guys, just to give you guys an idea of what this actual inflation looks like. Because I think that there might be a lot of strength in metals, commodities. If this is the case, yeah, we're talking about 12.7% annualized, and I'll show you guys all this stuff here in a second. I am not showing the graph yet, Nicole. I was hoping that I could do the mental math, but I'm not as smart as I was before I went to college. So I'm going to go ahead and get this show on the road. Let me make sure that you guys are able to see everything that's well, you won't be able to see me because my camera doesn't work in this application. We are switching to Zoom here soon. I just need to work with the platform technology people. There's a lot that goes into switching the platform. But this will be also posted on YouTube later as well. I'm going to go ahead and cover our base. Everything in this trading session will be for educational purpose only. You guys do with the information that you think is best. There's no such thing as a guaranteed trade, guaranteed win, guaranteed investments just don't exist. If that's what you're looking for, then well, let's just say you're not going to find it. There's no such thing as a guarantee. I would make the death and taxes joke, but David already shut me down on that one. So, keep that in mind. You have a question, please ask. My whole purpose in this room is to help you guys, learn the ropes. That's really what I want to do. And we're going to show a lot of things in here. I used to cover a lot of things in here every week. We've made a lot of resources to make that unnecessary. But generally, we help get we help get regulated secure brokerage. You want everybody to be able to work with somebody that they can trust. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. So, by all means, if you have anybody that needs help, have them send us a message. We're brokers at 123trade.com. We want to give as much help as we can. We work with a couple very large companies that we provide free support, and we also get a lot of free access to trade with a lot of pretty awesome traders. We trade in here every week. And this is all the stuff that we used to do in this session on this list here, placing your first trade, trading from your mobile, cell phone, tablet, all this fun stuff. But at this point, not as much. A lot of that stuff is going to be on our website. So, for example, this Getting Started Trading page is going to have a lot of that stuff. A lot of the videos that we post here are going to be on this page. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, that is the fastest way to just get the notifications when we put out market updates or the recording of this session, for example. So, all that said, all these resources are here for a reason. If you want to know how equity management works, a lot of stuff I'm going to show in real time here. There's an actual lesson on this page. If you want to know what I think about who controls the market, and really that's not a large group of people. You should probably know that they exist and how they make their decisions. Okay, because I'm going to show you a little taste of how I figure out how they're going to make their decisions in about 10 seconds when we pull up this calendar. Because, you know, personally, I'm not a big fan of watching the news, never have been, not anymore lately, because usually, you know, they're going to be flavor of the moment. Everything's going to be a huge deal. You know, if I come here and I look at this every week, I know what's going on in the world. I don't need anybody to tell me, you know, what the inflation situation's like here in the US or in Europe or anywhere, because I can come and look at all this information right here. And as I'll go through this here. I know at the beginning of the week we talked about job openings in the US. Okay, this is a record high number. This is huge. I'll show the graph here. And now you guys can see how big this number is. This is just open jobs. You know, this is a product of us, you know, having 20 million people lose their job last year. You know, this probably tells you something like 10 million of those jobs are back, still open, okay, and not ready to get filled. And it's because people still make a ton of money collecting unemployment from the government. And they also don't have to pay their rent because they can't get evicted until after January, okay? And earlier, I mean, that goalpost has been moved a few times. So people just aren't paying rent, getting paid. It's an ugly situation. That's why there's so many jobs open. Okay, so NAB business confidence in Australia, -8. Okay, their lockdowns are not going to do a lot of justice for the economy in Australia. So things aren't going as well as you might want them to be there. Same thing goes for Europe. Okay, this is a big product of the vaccine passport stuff that just came out. Obviously, a lot of people are upset. A lot of people can't even go buy food anymore at restaurants or whatever it is. Whatever the restriction is, that portion of the economy is going to slow down by whatever percentage of people that are not vaccinated, and that's just a fact. Okay, and then there's the other people that are vaccinated that want to protest it also. So that's what this number is coming from. That's why you're seeing this big red here. This is a very quickly declining economic sentiment in Europe. So we may want to be looking for bearish activity on the euro. So far, we're still looking at, you know, relatively bullish type of activity on the US dollar. A lot of what they said earlier this week, Barkin came out, and actually I talked about this earlier this week, but they're talking about inflation at 2%. And actually it was Bostic, I think, that was saying that he was talking about tapering. And they're talking about tapering off as soon as the economy recovers. So later this year, with tapering, that means that they're going to stop buying so many US bonds, their own bonds, which is kind of funny. And that could have a negative effect on the value of the dollar in the short run, but it also could mean that they're going to raise interest rates. So the markets may get ahead of that and go ahead and drive the dollar up in that scenario. Could be a lot of things coming here in the next few days. We also have the stimulus package, not stimulus package, excuse me. That's what it feels like, but the infrastructure package that they're trying to pass through for, I don't know, a few $1 trillion. So that would be a big bump to GDP here in the US. It would actually be a demand thing. The only problem is they'd have to raise the debt ceiling to afford the payments, and that would be a very bearish activity. So could be pretty ugly, whiplashy type of move we see here over the next year or so on the USD. This PPI number is what I was talking about at the beginning of this presentation here. Okay, 1%. Okay, it's in green because it's bigger than what they expected. That doesn't mean this is good. Okay, that is way too high, incredibly too high. I don't know how best to put it, but here are the incredibly way too high numbers that we've been seeing, and we haven't seen incredibly way too high numbers like this all the way since, let's see when we can compare this to. It's usually not a good time period. Back in 2011, 2012, we saw some pretty impressive numbers here. Looks like the financial crash probably. Let's come back here. Oh yeah, 2008. You know, pretty ugly days back here that we were trying to get out of, you know, a real estate crisis. So that being known, these numbers could get worse. Okay, they don't seem to be really coming down. I mean, if anybody can give a little insight on that, then I don't know. The U.S. government seems to be lying to us about that, and they're saying, "Oh, it's not a big deal. It's transitory." That's not how inflation works. It compounds over time. Everybody that made $40,000, you know, this year is going to make 15% less next year with the same amount of money in their pocket, because that's how that works. But, you know, generally, I think metals are going to be extraordinarily strong. If they can't raise the interest rate, and they may not for a while, then we could still see some more bearish activity on the US dollar. So let's go ahead and check out. I think I want to look for places where I may want to go short on things like the euro and the Aussie, and I may do that against something like the Swiss franc. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and maybe the yen. I don't have any trades open right now. Actually, I'll pull this up. I'll give you guys a quick update on this. I'm kind of disappointed in myself. The biggest mistake I made in the last week, I know is huge. I didn't dump early enough. So we did only do 1.66% in this live account. And we had been up 200 pips. So I did make a mistake. But the thing about that mistake is the floor on it is pretty, well, let's just say I can deal with it. I didn't blow this out. I made money. So, this type of situation, I'm going to keep on trucking. I'm going to add more money to this account because that's the logical thing for me to do, because I know that I can at minimum, I can preserve capital in here. And typically, let's just say if I did this 4 times a month, I'm one of the best investors on earth if I can do this with a lot of money, because I'm crushing inflation. Even at this is a week over week number. I'm crushing inflation right now. I just talked about inflation for the last couple minutes here. So that's really what the point is of investing. It's just to crush inflation, beat the market. Okay, so you got to keep that in mind. You got to keep things in perspective. Okay, there's no reason to, investing is a tortoise and a hare game. Okay, slow and steady wins the race. Because if I compound 5% per month in my account all year, that's an 80% return. If I add more money to it, it's even more than that. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out a couple of things here. We may actually still be kind of bullish on the pound. So something that might be a lot of fun might be the EURGBP. Let's go check this one out. Okay, and it does appear, let's go to the all-time frame here. Get a good look at what's going on. Looks like we're right at the bottom of this nasty range. So we could be in kind of a interesting breakout territory. Looks like we might be already. I'm going to go ahead and draw a few lines on here. We'll get our trend on the bottom. And I always draw these left to right because that's how time works on the chart. Okay, so right now we're right in the middle of no man's land. This isn't really going to tell me anything other than the fact that, the euro is likely to go up over time long term, but it could fall for the next, I don't know, year or longer. The other way that I like to look at trend is with ranges. So I'll draw a little box here. Keep it nice and simple, okay? And I'm going to use my eyeballs to figure out where the turnarounds are on this box. Here's where our next low might be, down here. So we may be getting close to buy territory, but I don't think we're quite there yet. The market has turned at this price already, but we've already broken out below that price. It tested it, came back, looking for more. So this is likely my next place to aim, would be these lows down here. Okay, so I don't really want to try to push it any further than that. I may actually look to buy at that price once we get lower, and not before that price, at that price. Okay, so I'm going to come down here to my weekly. Looks like we're up a little bit as of right now. We are at what I like to call Correction Friday, though, so I think could be a good opportunity here. Looks like we have been creeping down pretty hard. Let's go ahead and get down to our daily time frame here. Still not a whole lot to look at. And let's go ahead and pull a fib here. Okay. ABCD button. Okay, didn't get what I needed there, so let's pull another one. See what we got on this wave 2 here. And it looks like we may be looking at our extension level below, because we came up here to our 5.0 level in the middle of this wave. Okay, we may be testing right now. We have been breaking out towards the down motion. This has been mostly down for, if nothing else, at least since April 25th. Okay, so I'm not going to be the guy that calls the bottom on this thing until we get to the bottom of my box. And even then, I may be apprehensive about it, but I still think there's pips to grab at the bottom of here. Okay, so I do want to trade towards that as well. So now what I need to do is figure out where I can manage my risk and where I can protect myself. Okay, because the important thing to understand right now, I have no trades open. Okay, so I have all of my margin available to open trades with. This trade in the US is going to cost me somewhere around $60 in margin requirement. Those of you that are watching this with 400 to 1 leverage, this is a $3 trade with margin requirement. Okay, so very easy to open this. You don't want to have tons of them open. This currency cross is not going to move as much as other currency crosses. because these highly correlate. They're very, very related to one another. Let's just say Europe does a lot of business with the UK. So if I want to aim at the edge of my box down here, okay, and I want to have my, well, current market price, it doesn't matter where I want it to be, it's right there. Okay, now I need a place where I can manage my risk. Okay, let's come down to our 4-hour time frame, because I need something that makes sense. Okay, and I'm gonna pull another sub ABCD wave here. This guy right here. Okay, so maybe we don't jump into this right now. Maybe we do. Kind of a player's choice on this kind of deal. Some people might get in twice on this sort of thing. That's probably what I'll end up doing. Okay, so I may look for a stop loss above my AB boundary that I've got there. Okay, so that way I don't have to worry as much about getting stopped out. Realistically, if I wanted to be further away, I could come a little further, look at something like that. There's more turnarounds involved, you know, so then I have more opportunity to reload on another sell if it does come up and dig against me. But, you know, at this point, I need to know how much money am I risking. That's really the most important thing. Okay, because if I risk a 0.01 here, okay, we'll call it about 10 cents a pip. This is about a $12 risk. And, you know, in my account so far, you know, our average win loss is like $4 type stuff. Okay, so maybe I don't want to do a $12 risk. My best trade is a $12 win. Okay, so that being said, okay, it might make more sense to either reel in my expectations with my stop loss, okay? So that way I don't give up as much space. I'll just use my AB boundary, okay? That may be the move for me. So now I don't have to risk quite as much. I've got a better risk to reward ratio. And let's go ahead and crank this thing on. Let's do it. Let's see, stop, limit, pending sell. I need to make sure I get the right amount in here before I go ahead and do anything. Okay, and I want to do this by pips, so I'm going to check these little bubbles over on the right. Measure this one more time because I did move this stop loss. And we're at $80, 80 pips to try to capture about 160. And really, let's actually aim at this closer Fibonacci here. So 136. So we'll call it 136 pips. Okay, 136. And this was an 80 pip risk. Okay, and now I'm going to do this. Click the sell button, and I'm in like Flynn. Okay, so now that I've decided that I'm going to be shorting the euro, it's at kind of a high price. Let's go look at some stuff that might be strong. Let's look at the EURNZD. New Zealand has been one of the hottest economies on the planet for a very long time. It looks like it seems to be doing whatever we expected on this analysis, but let's go ahead and start this over. Okay, so I'm going to keep this one nice and simple. Let's go to the all time frame first. And just to point something out, okay, our highest price is way up here. Okay, this is a downtrend. We got another high right there with a big wick, lots of fear. The market did not want to come up higher. It's been a downtrend. Okay, so crunching this thing down, making it look smaller makes that easier to understand. Because I know that sometimes when you look at things in their totality, it looks pretty terrifying. But, you know, we've got some very heavy levels. I might want to just leave a little breadcrumb for me. Right down here somewhere. Okay, that might be where I want to stop being a seller on this in total. That's 1,000 pips from where we are right now. Okay, so if this market runs sideways, and actually this is still an uptrend if it does that, then, you know, that's might be where I want to stop selling it. There's also a trend line on the bottom here. Okay, so I may want to get a little earlier than that, reel myself in, maybe this low here, okay, that I want to try to test one more time. That's still 400 pips away. So all I'm doing is just trying to whittle my way down. Just like anything else, you know, I'm going to work my way in. Okay, and this has been a downtrend. Okay, so just to give you guys an idea of what I'm paying the most attention to on this chart is that. Okay, we have a big downward move that's been happening since March of 2020. Very slow up movement for the last, I don't know, since February. It may be time for them to take a bath because, hey, there's a lot of people up in arms. The numbers don't look good. Sentiment is bad. Okay, so if sentiment is falling and consumers are not expecting to have a good time and spend money, then that's bad news for the value of the euro. Because people don't have as much demand for the euro. They'll sit on them. They'll hold them. And that's really what they need to avoid if they want to turn this around. So I'm gonna come down to my 4-hour chart, get a closer look at this thing. It looks like go time to me. It's what this looks like to me. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and pull a fib here. Let's see if we can actually get one a little bit more. Let's try this on the daily maybe. And it does look like we are on the edge of this AB boundary here. So let's, I got a couple of lines that I can work with. This might be my exit a little bit higher up here, because that is still a couple hundred price interest points from where we are right now. Let's get another blue line where we are current market price. And I need a place where I can manage my risk, someplace that was above a previous high. You know, there's a few of them right there. Okay, so this might be it. Okay, we broke our trend line. If it comes back into this other zone, I probably just don't want to deal with it. Let's go to the 4-hour, see if we've got any other highs, lows we might want to use. And, you know, reality, you know, I'm pretty okay with this move. Let's go ahead and measure it. Okay, 91 pips. You know, I'll risk $7, $8 is what that would end up being on this currency cross. You know, that isn't a big deal to me. I don't care. Okay, and this is to make something like 15 bucks. Okay, so solid risk reward. I'm about this life. So let's go ahead and measure this up. We'll say 88 pips. Okay. And we're going to go with 180 on the bottom. Better than a 2-to-1. My kind of trade. Sell. Okie dokie. Phil, we're going to do silver. It's going to happen. Don't panic. It's coming. You know what? Let's just do it right now. We'll get it out of the way for you. And if you haven't traded silver in your Forex account before, this is going to be a fast mover, to say the least. Okay, so much faster, much more risk involved in trading something like this than, well, a currency cross, for example. So we are at a low right now, just to show you guys really what seems to have happened to the market. I don't know, we did a example of this, I feel like, a few weeks ago. I was talking about the kind of the buy with both hands place for silver was down here at 22 bucks. Oh my gosh. Look what happened. It went up $1 when it hit that price. Okay, so, you know, not surprising. We had big turnarounds that went for several dollars. I mean, you're talking about, we hit this price, this initial wave went, you know, $3.50. This one went, you know, $10. So this could go a long way. Could work its way back towards the middle of this box. Because end of the day, the downtrend line is something like this. Okay, so if this thing does continue to work its way down, it's probably going to come back up and test that line regardless. And what I'm talking about is it may do something like this, okay, and fall out of this zone, or it could very easily break out, okay, probably do something like that, okay. Either one of those could happen. Okay, there's absolutely nothing stopping this from happening. You know, they've been changing the way that the spot price of silver works every year, it seems like. This year, worse than ever. I mean, finally, they don't have to actually hold supply on this type of stuff anymore. They just kind of let you immediately open the position as soon as somebody wants it, even if it doesn't exist. It's just literally paper. So 188 people own every 1 ounce of silver. Okay, so they all own the rights to that 1 ounce of silver. So if all of them called at the same time, you know, only one person can actually get this ounce. But there are 188 people that own the rights to it. So very, very somewhat confusing when it comes to what can happen with price. But this is an aggressive down move that we're looking at. So I might be very careful in this situation. I'm going to get rid of these blue lines. If anything, I think this is a range trade that you would be looking for a buy. And I might look for something, you know, I'll just find another range within. Because that's really what seems to be driving this market right now, at the moment at least, this week. Okay, so this is really where I might play this range, our most recent AB boundary. I wouldn't really want to try to get out of that. In reality, I might actually even try to aim a little bit lower because there's more turnarounds over here on this side that have happened in the past at that price, and that's up around $25. Seems to be about as high as I might want to take that. Let's actually lock this tool. Yeah, but these are the highs I'm looking at over here. Okay, so, and there's also a turnaround there, here. You guys get the point. There's lots of them at that level. Okay, so not a bad idea. I don't think to aim to that level. There's just not a lot of great places to manage your risk unless you are very aggressive with your stop loss. And that might look something like this. Okay, this would be an aggressive move by all definitions. Okay, very aggressive. I can't physically do this in the US in my Forex account, so well, we're not allowed to have this kind of fun, because I think it would probably eat into TD Ameritrade's options money, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, that would be very aggressive. I might pull that down a little bit further just so you have a little bit of more opportunity to not get stopped out, just in cases. You know, that's really what I might want to look for, something like that. If we come down to a lower time frame, even lower, we can snipe this even more. Yeah, because we did come down and test just before that level, so we may do that one more time. But end of the day, on this lowest time frame, we do have a little bit of a trend line break here, so it could be go time. You know, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea in my opinion, but totally up to you guys. I don't actually have silver in my Forex platform here, so I can't do that. But let's keep on it moving, and let's get over to let's look at some more New Zealand dollar. Let's go ahead and check out maybe the Aussie New Zealand. Okay, and this one has been creeping up for the last few hours. Very strong downward movement for the last couple of months. And let's go ahead and take a look at this. Okay, really, I'm not going to pay attention to most of what happened on the left-hand side over here, other than the fact that we are getting lots of lower highs. Okay, so really what I'm looking at here is that New Zealand's got a slightly more well-run economy when it comes to money management, it seems like, than Australia. Not to say that either of them are bad, okay, because neither of them are. When it comes to, you know, expanding debt in the last year and a half, these two countries are, you know, tops in the world, you know, when it comes to developed economies. So, you know, I'm definitely not making a slight, okay, just so we're on the same page with that. But we are getting, New Zealand just happens to be, you know, really kind of a trendsetter for the world when it comes to economic policies. They came up with, for those of you that aren't aware, they're the ones that came up with the 2% inflation target that we run today. Okay, and that's why it's very concerning that that's worked very well for a long time, but we're looking at annualized PPI numbers at, you know, 15%. This is ridiculous. Okay, so we are way too high with inflation. So let's go ahead, come down here. Let's check out our weekly. Very sideways, you know. The other not so surprising thing is that, you know, Australia does a lot of business with New Zealand. Okay, so they will try to keep this very ranged up. This is 5 years of data. We're very bottled up here. Okay, so no reason for me to believe that, you know, we're going to get out of this range anytime soon. So I want to play the ranges within here as much as I can. I want to try not to get in, you know, too early if possible. Let's come down to our day. Just going to work our way down. Okay, and we are creeping. Okay, we are falling. Okay, this is really we look at this here. Okay, this is our trend line break. There's really another one higher up here. Okay, so there's been two of them. New one formed. We really didn't break our uptrend. I guess we did maybe here. Some traders may look at this as a broken trend, and it very much was. Okay, so I'm just going to follow these here. Okay, and this is what I had next. Okay, and now what I've got is something like this. Okay, so now we're below my downtrend. This could come up for a little bit of a breather. You know, no gospel in the world. Let's come down to a slightly lower time frame. Let's go to the 4-hour. All right, and we're looking at lots of, you know, lower highs, lower lows. So a lot of traders are going to look to call a bottom here. If anybody's here from Australia, could you guys just give me a, you know, a yes or a no? Are you guys still locked down? Like, are you guys expecting to get locked down? Like, are things going back to normal soon? Like, what are you guys looking at? I'm gonna go ahead and let's go ahead and look at Australia lockdown real quick, because this might actually have a lot to do with my decision. Okay, locked down and fed up. Australians find their own ways to speed vaccinations. Locked down until no more virus. That sounds like you're gonna be locked down for a long time. Because I remember the 15 days to flatten the curve last year. That turned into 300. You know, so well, let's just say, unless somebody tells me otherwise, I'm very much going to be looking for, please look at oil. I can absolutely look at oil here in a moment. Sorry, I got a little bit behind on questions. There's a lot of them here. Let's see. Yes, no, Queensland is opened up. Brisbane is still locked down in Melbourne. Okay, so if they're still locked down, I'm going to bet on down because that's what's been happening. Oop, I don't need that big circle that just happened. Just wanted to grab the chart. Okay, I'm gonna bet on down. Okay, it could continue to fall, could make a rise. Let's see where we are in the waves. Okay, and we are not yet at our extension, so I could be, you know, just in line to take this last little kick here before they open things back up. And let's come up to, let's see, we might be very aggressive here. Let's come down to the 1 hour. And here we're looking at, well, we've got a counter trend break here also. You know, some people like this type of stuff. I'm a big fan. Okay, so this could be go time for me right now. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Okay, we're talking about, I don't know, 70, 80 pips. This thing is kind of a slow mover, but that's okay with me. I don't really care how slowly it moves. I'm not going to be moving it. 33, and we're looking for 85. Okay, so 33, and we'll look for, we'll call it 80. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and click on sell, and I'm in. We're now in deep, 13 pips. Well, we've opened up spread on all of these trades, so we are, I don't know, the EURNZD spread for me is something like 6 usually, so I'm not overly concerned. Okay, I mean, we're talking about $1. But let's keep moving. If anybody has any questions, then by all means, don't be shy. But I am looking for lots of strength on the NZD in general, okay, against pretty much everything. Okay, so the pound New Zealand might be a fun one to check out. Maybe not actually. The GBP New Zealand is the pound I may actually be pretty bullish on versus most things. So really I want to pick something that I'm going to expect to be weak. Okay, so this scenario, let's get back over to our calendar real quick. Okay, maybe I look at the US dollar because I am expecting a lot of somewhat sideways movement there. Okay, preliminary GDP looks very good in the UK, so you know I'm not necessarily trying to bet against them. I might actually bet on them here in a moment. But let's go ahead and actually check out the, let's see, NZDCAD. Oh yeah, glad we came here. We drew this trade a while ago, apparently. I'm gonna I'm gonna go ahead and buy this, and then I'll do all the analysis after. But I'm gonna show you guys. That doesn't matter. I'll do it. I'll just do the analysis first. It's not gonna be that big a deal. I don't need to be that giddy about this. Let's come to the all-time frame. Okay, so Canada's been really increasing their debt ratio to GDP more than any other country on earth since 2019. Okay, so what that tells me is that they're going to have a lot of debt payments. Okay, a lot more than they have compared to years in the past, and New Zealand hasn't done that. Neither has Australia, so that might be another fun pair to look at after this one. I'm a little bit less hot on Australia right now. As soon as they open up again, I'll be right back in line, and I'll be bullish on the Aussies again as soon as they open up. Right now, NZDCAD, this is really what I'm looking at. Okay, this company is called 123Trade. This is as textbook of a 123 as it gets. Okay, it doesn't get any more textbook than that. So I'm looking for that. Okay, the other thing that you really want to notice, the long-term trend, just to make this abundantly clear, really what you might look at before that really convenient counter trend happened. Long-term trend, I'm looking at that. Okay, so just to give everybody, you know, full clarity on exactly what it is that I think has been happening on this thing for a long time. It took a very long time to test our lower trend here. It moved up a lot faster. So this thing could come up a heck of a lot higher. And the reality is, if I want to, you know, get an idea of where this might be in 10 years, for example, this could be it. Okay, it could be all the way up here to $1.17. Okay, that's thousands of pips above. Okay, so I don't think there's any reason why that can't happen. Even if it doesn't, okay, this is my most recent range that we're living in right here. Okay, so I think lots of opportunity for us to make it all the way to the top of this box. If I want to reel in my expectations a little bit, try to be a little bit less cavalier, I may aim for these highs. So I think lots of opportunity. I'm going to aim right at the middle of this last few years, because I think that there's a good chance we get above those prices. So I may want to get out there, maybe try to buy more later. Let's come down to our hour, because I already found a good opportunity, you know, on the monthly. I don't need to look at as many time frames, because I already realized that we're at a very impactful price point on my high time frame. Okay, so the reason why you zoom in is to get a closer look at something. You know, if you can see, you know, a mountain from 30 miles away, you don't need to get closer to know that it's a mountain. So that's really what I'm getting at. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and look for entries, exits on this right now. Let's go ahead and zoom in. This is our 1 hour chart. I may not aim quite as high. Okay, so let's actually come to our 4 hour time frame and get a fib level here I might be able to work with. I'm going to pick right from the bottom here. My ABCD tool. We're at the 618. This is textbook. This is literally, you know, what they teach you in school type of stuff. Well, they didn't teach me any of this in actual, you know, college or anything like that, but in market traders taught me this stuff. This is definitely something that I learned from them, and proud to have done it. Okay, so this point, risk reward looks pretty solid. Okay, we're talking about a few hundred pips that this thing might go. I might be able to sit on it for a while, see what my risk on the bottom side is. You know, 120 pips, $12, you know, to try to make something like 27. This thing moves slower than a snail. You know, I'm going to do it. So I'm not really worried about 12 bucks. Okay, and I'm already planning on adding more money to this. I already adding more money to this account anyways. As long as I follow through and I do that, this won't represent as much of a risk to my account. If I throw another $500 in this later today, then I don't have to worry about 12 bucks as much in a $1,000 account. Or if I throw $200 in it, whatever. Or heck, even if I throw $12 in this account. So, you know, that's really the thing to understand. It's not that big of a deal. As long as you intend on, well, if you want to raise your profitability, you need to increase your investment in yourself. Okay, and that's either with compounding, which is going to be very slow in a small account like this, or it's with, hey, I'm profitable, I'm going to give myself more opportunity to make money. That's really what it is. Okay, so 120. We'll make it 123, I think is what that is. Yeah, it is 123. Okay, so I'm going to click on this buy button here. We're in. Okay, so we've already looked at a couple NZD pairs. Okay, maybe we look at something like the pound CAD. Pound Australian might be a fun one. GBPAUD, what's up? Wow, this has been pretty bullish. Not surprising. This alert, I think, is no longer going to be useful. Open this chart in a while. Let's wonder if I can zoom and get rid of it. Oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and come down here. We're at a very low price on the pound. And I've mentioned this a lot, but I like to remind people, and not everybody's been here to every one of these sessions. The asset purchasing facility, okay? If I have a $100 account, how would I trade? Not very much, Nicole. What you would want to do is maybe focus on one currency pair, something like that. At least that's what I might do. I mean, you're welcome to do whatever you like to do, of course, but I wouldn't recommend opening a lot of trades. You know, that's something that, well, let's just say if you open one trade, you make $10, you're up 10%. Okay, if you lose one trade, $5, you're going to lose 5%. So, like, it really kind of depends on if you plan on adding more funds to the account as you grow it. But from a mindset standpoint, I don't like to risk more than, you know, one trade per $100 is probably at most. And as far as ratios go, we have the equity management calculator that I think I've shared with a lot of people, but not everybody has it, and I can't see it on my screen because my background is clean. Let's actually just pull it up in here. Equity management calculator. And if anybody sends me an email to brokers@123trade.com, then I'll be able to send you this calculator I'm about to pull up. There it is. Okay, so you guys can see that? Yeah, it looks like you can. Okay, so basically if you have a $100 account, okay, you type in the account balance on this calculator, okay, and then I figure out how many pips are at risk, how much of my account that I'm risking with each lot size. So I'm risking 5% of my account with 50 pips at risk, you know, in the minimum lot size. Okay, so that's what I use to figure this stuff out. Okay, well, historically I've used this, not as much anymore because I'm used to the math. And that's really what this is for. It's kind of like training wheels. So if you guys do need that, then I would strongly recommend send an email to brokers@123trade.com, and I'll send you the calculator so that you can more easily figure that type of stuff out. Let's come down to our actually one more line of reference here before I move down. Let's come to our weekly. And we are moving. Okay, this thing is making a little bit of a downstroke right now, but you know, I'm not in the business of calling tops. I'm a trend trading guy. We're way above this uptrend line. Let's see if there's another inner trend line here. Let's come to the daily. Okay, and let's see if we're above that. Okay, here's an inner trend line right here. We're above it. Okay, so what that means, if we're above the trend line, that means we're still in an uptrend. That's what that means. At least versus everything that I've ever learned. Okay, so that being said, let's go ahead and see where we are in the waves. And we would be very aggressive to try to get in right here. So might be a good idea for us to maybe come back to this one at another time, because we're right at the 236, you know, really could take off. Could also fall like a rock. You know, I wouldn't really want to take it any further than this 1866 price here. So we may actually short to there, but I'm not really interested in shorting this pair because I do think it's a rocket. I'd probably be more interested in buying it at that price below. Let's check out the 4-hour. But this one seems like it may be a head for the hills type of situation. We've got a pennant here, and really what I would want to wait to see some confirmation be where we break out on this thing, okay? Because end of the day, it could do one of two things. It's either going to do this, okay, or it's going to do something like this, okay? I don't know, and I don't really think it's worth testing, waiting, so I'm just going to go look at something else, okay? And let's go ahead and check out, see the pound CAD. In my opinion, a little bit more of a predictable trend direction on this one right now. Pound crosses are all of this crazy low down here. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to come up. It just means that we're at a low price, and there were a lot of people that probably really liked the prices that happened over here. Okay, a lot of people probably liked those prices. You know, they stayed there for a few years in the early 2000s. They tried to get back to those prices. They still tried to get back again in 2015, just couldn't quite get up there. So, maybe their chance is coming. Okay, let's get a quick trend line on here, see where we're at. Okay, it could just be working its way sideways, very painstakingly towards this range. We're getting higher lows on the bottom, so it's really, it kind of shows me that they don't really want to get below this level here. Okay, so Brexit, the referendum itself, that happened right up here. I'll get a little horizontal line on here. This is where Brexit happened. This is when the vote went through. Okay, that's where the market was when that happened. Okay, so a big reason why the UK decided to leave the EU was so that they could control their own monetary platform. Nicole, you can trade crypto on the AUDNZD platform, just to answer that question. I cannot trade crypto here from a Forex account because the rules are different. We have let's just say I have 4 different trading accounts. So they don't make it easy here for you to do a lot of things. But let's come down to the weekly. But you guys should be able to trade indexes, pretty much everything under the sun in your Forex account. And I do think that this is an uptrend, at least right now. Okay, we're going to look at oil here in a moment also, confirm what I'm believing here. But this looks like a counter trend line break to me. This looks like another 1, 2, 3. Let's come down to our daily chart, work our way down. This looks like something I probably want to buy, like right now. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to put a fib level here. We came to green on the bottom. I'm going to look for green on the top. This is where I'm going. Okay, I'm going to rip the tape on life somewhere right up there. Here's our current price, all the way down here. Make that thing blue. And let's get a stop loss, maybe somewhere down there. Let's go ahead and figure out what makes the most sense. Let's come to our 4 hour now. Yeah, this is a big move that could be starting right now. We're at some really good support. I'm in. Like, I want to buy this. But I'm going to go ahead and measure 145 pips. I'm starting to risk 14 bucks to try to make, 28. Okay, so maybe I want to reel this in and I don't want to be quite as far down. Maybe I will be a little bit less cavalier with my stop loss. Use some levels that were important in this other wave. I'm going to go ahead and buy this thing though. So let's measure this one more time. Okay, it's kind of creeping up on me right now. Let's do 100 here. We're just going to do 200 and then I'm going to move it. Okay, so it's already screaming on me. It'll probably start falling as soon as I do that. That's the way life works. But I'm just going to click on this line and drag it up here. Put it where I want it to go. This is a little earlier than I actually want to get out. I want to aim at this green level up top. Okay. So that's a kind of an aggressive move, but I'm very, let's just say the Bank of England's been pretty aggressive. So I've got really no reason not to be on the pound. And if we come back here, just to show you guys something, let's go back. I think it was this month that I could show you this from. And I've shown this a lot of times. I just don't want anybody to forget about this. If you look at this number here, okay, and the U.S. government's talking about tapering off their policies on doing this exact same thing. You're talking about 895 billion, okay, billion per month. Okay, there is no one buying their stock as aggressively on earth as the Bank of England right now. They've been doing it for years. They just ramped it up even more. They've tripled it the last couple of years. Okay, so incredible dedication to keeping the pound valuable. Okay, so they have to do that. If they don't, they will lose money like crazy doing business in Europe because of all the tariffs and whatever. Anything that got more difficult to do business with Europe when they left Europe is going to be incredibly more expensive if they can't jack up the value of the pound. Okay, so I'm very much going to play that against any weak currency at any given time. Let's go look at the pound USD. Okay, let's go ahead and check that out. How many trades do we have going here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can really only put in maybe one more. So it's got to be something that I really want to trade. Let's go ahead and look at, let's see, one more. We already did the Euro Pound. We already did the Euro NZD, Aussie New Zealand. Let's check out this NZD. Oh, we already did NZDCAD. I may actually be done for this week. I don't think if anybody has anything they want to see while we're here, then by all means, I'll show it to you. I think, but I think this is really all I might want to do in this account right now. Unless I plan to add money to it today, which is, realistically, I'm probably going to do that Monday because I'm trying to take the day off the rest of the day. Pound USD, yeah, we might as well do that one. I did just bring that up. We might as well take a look at the dollar anyway. But the dollar, like I said, is going to be very murky waters here for a while because there's a ton of swing in the dollar, for one. But it's also at a low price. And I'll show more of that here in a moment. But this has been the trend on the pound USD for quite some time. Okay. So this is very much had been this falling wedge. Okay. And most of this time, I mean, you're talking about a totally different economy. Okay. They were a part of an entirely, other economy. Okay. CADJPY. That one might be a little bit confusing also. That one might be sideways, Nancy, but I'll take a look at it. That isn't a problem. We can absolutely do that. But as far as me opening more live trades in this account today, probably not. Let's go ahead and bump to our weekly. And this thing's moving up. This may be a buy right now. The thing that gets a lot of people, okay, and it's that, you know, a lot of people look for patterns. This is a popular pattern right here. You know, this, a lot of people are going to see a crown here. Okay, and a lot of people will be looking to sell that. Okay, I don't think a good idea. Okay, but a lot of people see that. Okay, I saw it immediately. Just looks like a crown to me. Okay, it also has this big pin bar on the bottom right here, followed by a bullish engulfing candle. So there's been lots of bull signal on this since really March of last year. This has been an uptrend. It went sideways for a while, but this already up here is a true low. Right here, because there's two to the right, two to the left, this true low. So the reality of the situation is that my trend line is here. Okay, so I think up. This may be a buy as soon as right now. I may go back on my, you know, this is the hard part about doing more analysis with people after you're done trading. Because now I want to take this trade. As long as it's equitable, I might. Okay, so I may not look to take this thing too far though, because this is our day chart. Let's zoom in here. And like I said, there's really two kinds of strategies that I like to employ. Okay, when I say two kinds, this isn't the only two strategies that I know by any stretch. It's the easiest thing to show people, and really something that everybody should know. Okay, you need to know how to draw a box on a chart, and you need to know how to draw a line. Okay, if you can't figure that out, then watch more people do it more often. Because I didn't learn how to do this, you know, just playing with it myself. I've watched a lot of really amazing traders over the years and figured out what they're looking for. They're looking for places that the market has turned around before, prices that the market cared about. Who cares why? The market turned around there. That's really the whole point. Okay, so I can sit and I can talk about economics all I want because I'm a dork and I like to read the news. Okay, but all that does is tell me what currency cross to look at. It doesn't tell me even what direction the market might be going next. Nobody knows what direction the market's going next. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. The reason why you look for places that the market has turned around before is because I need a place to protect my risk, okay, below all these other turnarounds that have happened. Okay, so I also need a place for perspective, current market price, there's my blue one. I need a place to exit if things go my way. And I want to be a little conservative, okay? You know, maybe I get out there. Okay, I could get out earlier at another place the market's turned around before, like there. Because it's turned around there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in the past. We just missed it, okay, on the last go around. So let's go and come and check out the 4-hour time frame. Okay, this is very much a range trade. Very much, you know, if I expect this thing to trend, you know, this is what that might look like. It may come up a little bit higher, you know, and that's all well and good, but, you know, maybe that doesn't happen. So I'm not necessarily going to plan for that. I'm going to use this stop loss a little bit higher. I don't have to be as aggressive. I can stay in my range if I do that and still have a pretty good risk-reward ratio, even more likely to win because my target's closer. And we're talking about a risk of somewhere like, I don't know, 80 pips to try to capture 130. Okay, so not a huge risk, $8. You know, I don't really care about $8. I'm definitely going to put more money in this account, so let's go ahead and do it. Promise though, this is the last one. This is my last one. You know, I'm human too, people. You're not going to tempt me. If you guys have seen that show. I think it's hilarious. Oh, you're not gonna tempt me. I don't know if you guys get that reality TV show that we get here in Netflix. It's garbage, but it's lots of fun to watch. Let's CADJPY, Nancy, you want to see that? We can do that. Did I already put this in? We already buy this? Yes. I don't think we did. Now we have. Now we're in. Oh, it said no. What did I do? Okay, so my stop is 80 pips. My limit is 130. Why can't I do it? Oh, that time it worked. There we go. And, all right. CADJPY. You want oil? Yeah, my bad. I know oil's been oil. Somebody asked, Sharon asked for oil a long time ago. I'll do that one first. Sorry about that. But let's go ahead and get into oil. Should be a fun one. Oil looks like it may be splish splash, taking a bath. That's just what I think might be happening here. Let's come to the weekly time frame. Okay, if you guys can see this, oil has been on a tear, absolute tear. Okay, and when I say that, I mean the upstroke it's been on. This is the downtrend it was on for years that we broke out of. Okay, so oil I don't think has a chance to get to negative $17 again anytime soon, but I do think that it has room to come lower and test this demand zone. Okay, that's really what this is. And when I say demand zone, that just basically means that like a lot of people bought and paid those prices below here. Okay, down at $64 is where this thing might be headed. Okay, we're getting serious bear activity, but we're also getting serious bull activity. These are hammers that are happening on the bottom here. So it doesn't look like it really wants to come down. It really kind of depends on if old Joe Biden can convince OPEC to increase production. Because if he can convince OPEC to increase production, which I don't know why that's the strategy when we have so much oil here in the US. But, you know, whatever, that's not a debate for this conversation. You know, if he can convince them to increase their production, then this number is likely to get back into our demand zone here below. Okay, if he can't, and OPEC says no, we're not going to do that because we want to drive up the value of oil, because that's what makes sense from their side of the table, because it does, then this is likely to come higher. So I may be cautious on oil, and, you know, really, I might be really, this might be a real novel thought. I like to Google everything and just click this news tab. Kneecap U.S. oil, but beg OPEC to pump more. Okay, so that's the #1 article. So that's what I was talking about. If you guys are wondering, that's how you find it. Joe Biden wants OPEC to drill. Venezuela's oil reserves doomed to become the world's largest stranded asset. Okay, so that's, you know, not good news either. Put his foot on the neck of the energy industry. Now he wants more oil. You know, you guys can tell why everybody loves him so much here. Oil prices steady after U.S. call for more oil, raised supply concerns. Okay, so, you know, this is kind of all this news is kind of telling me that oil might come up. And that's very much like what these big wicks are here. That's fear in the lower prices. Okay, because people aren't necessarily willing to let the market fall. So hard to say. You know, if it were me, I would really be looking to buy more than anything else, but not yet, because we are in a downstroke, and I just need to figure out where that might happen, where I would want to become a buyer. I missed that line there. Sorry about that. Zoom in a little more here. And, you know, our green level below here might be where our extension is. Okay, that is exactly where my demand zone was that I drew before. Okay, that's where this range right here that hit this green level up top, and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean. This is the wave, okay, to A to B to C up at green. D extension I would expect to be down here. Okay, so maybe oil takes a little bit of a bath, maybe it doesn't, but regardless, I'm a buyer at $63 and change. Okay, and I'm definitely a buyer there. Okay, so that's really what I would be looking for. This is really, in my opinion, kind of a no trade right now, because I'm not really willing to short oil given what's going on. OPEC could come out and say whatever they want and greatly affect my ability to make money on this trade. I mean, heck, Joe Biden could forget that he asked them. So I'm just not willing to play with that until we get to these really aggressive prices down here below. Then I'd be looking for a buy opportunity. Do we have any? There was a JPY pair you guys wanted me to check out. It was the CADJPY. Yeah, Nicole, I can catch up with you after this. That's not a big deal. Let me CADJPY. This looks like a downstroke. Okay, the CAD is going to be, well, let's just say, very interesting. This is a crown here also. Okay, let's come to the all time frame. GBPJPY. That one may be a good one. I don't know how, well, let's just say I think the yen is due for a little bit of strength, so I may be out on the GBPJPY. We can look at it, but I don't know. Euro Swiss actually might be a very good opportunity to look for a short. So we may check that one out. I like that idea, Charles. I like that idea. Let's check this out. Okay, so this is the CADJPY all time. We're gonna make everything nice and crunched up, small. I want the whole world in my hands on this high time frame because I want to know the major institutions, the banks, the people with billions and trillions of dollars. Okay, they're not making trades every couple hours. Okay, they definitely are not doing that. So CADJPY looks like we're at kind of a scary price because we are very much in a test territory. So it could be breakout city pretty much either way. It may be a well, actually, now that I tightened this up, it actually does look like we're below it. We've already tried to test. So who knows? This could try to break out of this trend. I don't know. Let's come to a lower time frame here. Down does appear to be the flavor of the week on this deal. So let's take a look at this long-term trend here. This is just to tell me what strategy I might want to use. This would be an uptrend on the bottom here. Okay, so I don't want to treat this like a downtrend up top and look for extensions. I'm going to pull a Fibonacci here and I'm going to look for a 382 to retrace back to. Okay, so I wouldn't want to take this any shorter than here. Okay, this is as far as I'd want to go. Okay, that actually might be a solid target because our current market price above here. Okay, we're basically, I'll make this blue actually just for reference. Okay, we've got that price. Now we also need a place to, protect ourselves. Show where the resistance is on here. We've got 2 levels of resistance right above where we are now. We've got more of them above here. So if I want to, I can come to a lower time frame and look for more levels of resistance. I'm just going to put that there for now. Come down to our 4-hour chart. I've got 5 levels of resistance here. So I'm going to be somewhere here. Feels like a good idea. Okay, so I don't want to look for any more than that. And reality, given our risk reward ratio, I could very easily look for a sideways move here, something like that. That way I don't have to worry about getting out of this range and breaking out downward more than it might, because it's already turned around here twice at that price. So maybe it wants to turn around there one more time, 3rd time's the charm. Maybe it blows past it, who knows? But it'd be really nice to take profit on the 100 or so pips that are there. When it does that, 200 pips, okay? So this is a 200 pip opportunity, 120 pip risk, something like a $12 risk from a 0.01. To find the risk reward, really you just multiply this lot size number by 10, then multiply it by the number of pips. It's that straightforward. So 0.01 times 10 is 0.1 times, 80 is 8. Okay, so that's how you figure out how much money you're risking. You can do that with a very basic calculator all of you have on your cell phone to figure out how much money in each trade. But that's something that a lot of people tend to not pay attention to. And that's really why they lose their money as often as they do. Pound JPY. This looks like a really sweet Gann formation down here on the bottom. Also, some people might call this a head and shoulders formation down here. Okay. This guy. Okay, so that might be what a lot of people are looking for on this type of thing. Okay, so I don't really know that this is a great opportunity at the moment. Let's back out of here a little bit. So I'm expecting a lot of strength on the pound, and it has been. I mean, we are at a somewhat of a low price. We're at a pivot. This has been an uptrend. Let's come to the daily so you guys can see this a little bit better. But yeah, basically, we've got a crown formation up here. So that's the concerning part for me, is that we're not at an even lower price, because if this thing ranges, which it might, because if there's a lot of risk here in the US, because there is, then that might drive up the value of the yen. And if they're also increasing the value of the pound, this could be very difficult to figure out what trend is going to be for the next few days, weeks. So really I would want to wait for some sort of a breakout to happen. And that would be indicated by something that we break this line here. And we have not. Okay, so we're still in downtrend territory in the shorter term. But in the longer term, we're really, looking at up. Okay, so important thing to understand is, there's nothing wrong with waiting for confirmation. because, you know, when you break these lines in here, it tends to pay off. And it's not something that happens for a day. You know what I mean? These have big moves that follow all of these. So it's not something, you know, I'm necessarily willing to start buying right away. It could come down further when you look at it from a range standpoint. You know, really, it could come all the way down to these lows below here and test our trend line. So, and it looks like it may do that. I mean, if we come into our 4-hour time frame, okay, 4-hour perspective, if I draw a quick counter trend, that might be what we're looking at right now. But I'm not really willing to trade against this thing super heavy for a lot of different reasons. So I may just stay out of this and see what happens in a couple of days. But that's essentially what I think is going on. I'm much more of a buyer, you know, at 150. 150, you know, I would be much more interested than I am at 152. But I think long term, this thing's got room to come a heck of a lot higher. You know, it's been moving up pretty quickly in general versus the other pound crosses. And we do have, you know, a higher high that happened here, but we didn't bust this high on the left. Okay, so we are stuck in this range. We're right at the edge of it. So I'm not necessarily thinking big bull territory until either we break that high that I just circled in purple there, or at least until we break this most recent trend line that we drew on the lower time frame, this counter trend that's here. Okay, until we break this line here, I'm not really looking for anything specific. I'm going to wait until I have confirmation for that. But we are just about out of time. If you guys have anything else that you want to see, then speak now, forever hold your peace. Anybody that is watching this, you know, if you're watching the recording on YouTube, by all means, smash the like button for us. Give us some comments. Give me an idea what you guys, you know, maybe liked, didn't like, need to understand more about. But the reality, like, all I'm doing is taking what the market gives me. Everybody has this free information that exists on this website. Okay, this is a calendar. Okay, so all I'm doing is using this to figure out what I want to trade. Our website itself has a lot more information as well. There's more videos on here. The ebook on the news page is active and live, and you can download it right now. Okay, so written by yours truly. Okay, so it basically teaches you how to use this news page and figure out, you know, what currency crosses might be strong if you're not as good at using something like this calendar. Because I know the calendar involves, you know, I have to know what all of these mean, what's good, what's bad, and, you know, not everybody's going to be able to tell that. So a lot of people just read the news for that, but they don't know what news to read. Okay, so this ebook, okay, will very much tell you what news that I read and why. And I've been doing it for years, but generally, I strongly recommend check it out. There's absolutely no reason on earth why you wouldn't want to check this out, because I've been showing you guys. Basically, I've been using this for I don't know how many years. I've just never really given it to anybody, written it down, made it look pretty. But that's what it is, and it's all here. So if you guys have other questions, please send an email, brokers@123trade.com. Please, how do I know how to determine which currency is getting stronger? Thank you. Charles, read the ebook, brother. That's the whole reason why it exists. That's why I wrote it. But yeah, you can get that on the website. It delivers. I think it usually takes a couple of minutes to deliver, maybe like 30 seconds, depending on how fast your internet is. But yeah, you can go get the ebook right now. And otherwise, check out my YouTube updates on Mondays. I'm going to be doing macro market forecasts on Mondays as well. If you guys have not also, you know, let's just say if you like coming to these sessions and you like what we do for people, then by all means, Google 123Trade. Give us a quick review. You know, if you like what we're doing for you, then by all means, hook us up with 5 stars. Because I mean, well, let's just say as far as free services go, I think we give a lot of value. We've got some good reviews in here already. I just started asking for these maybe a week ago. But generally, if you like us, you like these presentations, give us a quick review. I'd really appreciate it. It helps us a ton. But we are out of time here today, so I appreciate everybody joining. Hope everybody enjoyed watching the Beat the Market Challenge. I'm going to ramp up this account. We're going to start making more money in this thing as time goes on, because I am going to continue to increase the lot sizes you know, as I add money to this account and as I begin to compound. And hopefully, you know, things go our way and I can do that relatively quickly. Got to keep the win rate up, keep the losses small. It's all about keeping the floor, you know, the bad days not so bad. Silver is going. That's what I'm talking about, Philip. That's what I'm talking about. But I hope you guys have a great weekend. Again, Will Bridges from the team at 123Trade. You guys be good or be good at it. Take care, folks.